Hello there, welcome back to our show. Today I'm going to talk about Space Battleship Yamato, or Star Blazers as it's called over here. But I prefer the other title. So that's what I call it, Space Battleship Yamato. It feels better. So there's the 70s version of it, which you can catch on YouTube. But I've actually was watching the remake, which is very well critically received, which you can get on Funimation, or you can just buy them on Blu-ray, but the also digital codes for Funimation where we do that. So you've got Star Blazers 2099, Star Blazers 2002 Part 1, and Part 2. And both, so basically the two series, basically, because this is basically Part 1 and 2 of the same series. And it's basically the same disc. It's 26 episodes per series. And they're terrific. They're really terrific. There's been film versions, like animated film versions, live action film versions. They're trying to do a film version of Star Blazers or Yamato at the moment for the Legendary with Chris McQuarrie. But who knows what's going to happen. He's doing Mission Impossible just now. I saw a 2010 or something version of Yamato, like a live action one. That was my first introduction to it, which was a very messy film. It was one of those films that wasn't very good but very enjoyable, and you could tell it was based on some material that actually was more interesting than what they'd done with this film. So it was one of those ones that was like, it was good enough to get me interested in reading the source material, but bad enough to know not to judge it too harshly, the original material too harshly on this, because it was obviously it wasn't quite there yet. So Yamato is a old battleship from World War II that was sunk, and we go forward to 2199, and the Earth has been attacked by the Gamillions. Or they'll start with G, and their villains and part of the both series have very similar sounding names and look kind of similar, one's a bit more than one another. So I'm going to get the names wrong for these villains. I'm not going to try. I mean, much even tells you nope, doesn't even tell you on this, like what the names are. Doesn't matter. Anyway, Yamato is a ship that, because it's sunk, they've actually built this massive spaceship below it, and they received a signal from a faraway planet called Iskandar saying, if you travel here, we can help you. And because at this point, the Earth has been basically destroyed. I mean, it's a desert. I mean, all the oceans are gone. Most of the people are dead. It's like, we have to do this one trip. It's the only chance we've got of survival against all these aliens that are going to kill us all. And we've got a special faster than light technology that also can count as a weapon that we shouldn't use very often because it could be dangerous, and we have to go from point A to point B. And they've lost most of the fleet trying to get this thing set up, so they don't have that many ships left. So basically, an old captain who looks like an old sea captain has to basically bring together all these young people who are very inexperienced, and they have to leave the planet and on this old ship that was converted into this new spanking thing that can fight anybody, and you have to spend 26 episodes trying to get to Iskandar and finding this cure for the problems of the planet, plus also deal with the enemies and deal with the problems of they bring along too. And that's the plot. But it's 26 episodes, so there's individual stories throughout, as the first third is the characters leaving the solar system and learning how to deal with each other. Then the next third of the first series is finding out a lot more about the enemy, as well as them trying to survive and being much further out of space than they've ever been before. And the final third of the series is getting to Iskandar, dealing with the enemies and trying to resolve that issue, and also try and prove themselves to the people from Iskandar that they are worthy of redemption for their planet. So it's literally could be 3 films. It could be a trilogy with those 3 blocks quite easily. And it is wonderful. Now, the thing is, this kind of series is it tries to explain why it's wonderful. And you just have to... And it's one of those ones where it's like, you just have to go and see it, really, to see why it's wonderful. Because the charm of it is, it's an old battleship that can go in space and can fire laser guns and can is an aircraft carrier that can let spaceships, just like X-wing fighters, fly out and attack and fight these other starships. And you've got these submarine starships that are interdimensional. They can go into other dimensions and pop up in another dimension, shoot, then disappear again. Which is a great submarine. It's wonderful. So everything's about safe. It's almost like a seafaring adventure, but in space. And it's about all these young people who are like in their 20s, basically, mostly, trying to learn how to survive in space and how to survive and how to grow up and how to keep their ideals. Because this is a very naive show intentionally. It is a show about the best part of humanity and try to save humanity, but also save the best part of humanity. And it's all about all these people trying to learn to live together, which sounds very sappy, but the way they do it really works because it is idealistic, but it's also not stupid. But it is intentionally naive, and that's wonderful because it's quite nice to see a film that can truly can be naive, but not stupid. You know, it can believe in the best part of humanity, but not be stupid about it. And that's what this TV show does. It really works. And it's, I mean, the show I'd suggest it's similar to in some ways as Avatar Last Airbender, in a sense that same mix of adventure, character, and hope for the world despite overwhelming odds against your lead characters. And there's some humour to it as well, and so that's what Space Battleship Yamato is. It's just a wonderful story about these people trying to learn from the mistakes and try and move on and try and find out why these aliens want to kill them. And it's more complicated the more you know. But I don't want to give too many spoilers about it. Because I want you to, whoever's watching this, to go watch it. It's really good. It's wonderful. Now, I'll briefly touch upon the sequel, Space Battleship 2202, which is based as the second season, and it is another adventure to try and save the planet. But I'm trying to avoid going into details, but it's also like taking on what happened in the first one and dealing with a new enemy, but also dealing with what you thought you did wrong in the first series. Like what the characters thought they made mistakes at in the first series. And the slow development of guilt and sense of like there are no easy answers to things. And just a sense of compromise. People are more compromised in this show, in the second season. And it is more epic, and they do have battle scenes that go on a bit too long, but it always delivers ultimately. It always gets through that and gets to the really good stuff. So, if you like the first one, you go to the second one thinking there's a bit too much action, have faith, it knows what it's doing. There is a point to all the action. It will get you to somewhere interesting. There's some really interesting things about like how humanity deals with other people, and you know, and do they deserve to survive? And it's all, I mean, it's naive, but it's also wonderfully complicated at the same time. It's like it keeps the sense of humanity's worth it, but we've also got massive problems. So that's what's wonderful about the thing. It's a show for children, but also allows children to understand that the life is more complicated. You know, so it's a great show to show a teenager of 12, 13 to expand their view of the world while also having a really good action show. But it's for all the family though. Anyone at any age can watch it and enjoy it. It's really good. But again, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so I'm not going into much detail about the second one. But they're all worth watching. But especially the first series. The first series is really, really good. The second season is slightly lower, but its highs are so great that it doesn't matter. It just has a couple of episodes that maybe aren't as great because they're a bit too actiony, but still really good. but it takes a bit longer to get going, I think, really. But that stuff you need for the story. So it's like, its flaws are part of the story, part of what you need to tell the story properly. So it's still terrific. There's now some more. There's 2 new movies. The Space Battleship Yamato 2205, which are just coming out in Japan, so I'm waiting patiently or impatiently for them to see them, because I really want to see them now. But hopefully I'll get to them pretty soon. So, but that stuff is really good. It's highly recommended. Go watch it. So that's me for Space Battleship Yamato. See you later.